What up? So, yeah, I basically wanted to make this video, pretty much outlining a three-step plan in which Black Americans and really anybody else who are looking to relieve themselves from oppression can follow. And the way this three-step plan works, it works into three basic steps, which outline the peaceful route, the organization route, and the worst come to worst route. So, which I'll call the self-defense route. So these are basically the three steps in which a human being can use to liberate himself. And I wanted to basically give this to Black Americans so that we can begin the process of liberating ourselves from wicked people who oppress us. So, the first step in the three-step plan, which I title Martin Luther King. So, the first step is Martin Luther King. The idea and philosophy behind Martin Luther King was to appeal to people's logic. And this means basically talking out your problems before things get physical, which is a pretty logical thing to do, and that should be the natural route of any human being handling conflict. You should try a peaceful route first to give the opponent a chance to realize his wrong. And unfortunately, in our society as well as in other places, human beings have a tendency, once they reach a certain level of evil, that they are beyond logical comprehension. And they, in their minds, because basically they're too stupid, when humans get to a certain level of stupid, they are no longer able to comprehend truth to the extent where it touches their soul in a verbal fashion. So once human beings get to the point where I like to call too far gone, where you can no longer have a logical conversation with these human beings, that is time at that point to move on to step two. But step one should always be enforced and effected. Do I think that the U.S. government or any of the controlling forces, whether they be billionaire corporations or military or kings and queens or just straight up rich bankers or what the fuck ever, do I believe that these people are too far gone? I do, and I think that if they had any logical sense, that they would have snapped out of it by now. But unfortunately, they believe in lies, even though they believe that their so-called esoteric truth is the truth, and that's just the most assaulting thing that someone could ever do to your intelligence. So these people are way too far gone, probably, for logical conversation. So some of you Black people, and I'm going to split you guys up probably in a few different groups here. Some of you are ready to fight. And some of you already got guns. And some of you are just like, fuck this shit. For you people, just stay there in step three. Don't no need to try to necessarily do step one or two. You can if you want to. But you should definitely follow your heart. So I encourage any Black people who still have some love in their heart that might want to talk logically to some of the people on the other side. If that's where your heart leads you to, then try it. Maybe you might turn a couple of them and convert their way of thinking into something better. But personally, I think that step one is a little overplayed, and we already tried step one. So I would suggest that Black people start here in step two. And step two is a very simple step. It is organization. So now is the time for Black people to start organizing themselves personally as human beings and collectively as a group of people. And I encourage any brown skinned people, if you feel that you are oppressed, then start organizing your own. Or any white people, like, it doesn't fucking matter. If you feel oppressed, my suggestion to you, and you feel like getting liberated from oppression, my suggestion to you would be to organize. The organized process is not necessarily only a peaceful organization. There should be a gathering of guns. At this point, you should be gathering guns. You should be gathering food. You should be gathering supplies. You should be gathering things for a worst come to worst situation. So the organization aspect of it is deep. It only applies to weapons and things. It also applies to just getting your ducks in order. I mean, even if you don't necessarily want to participate in liberation, but you're not opposed to it, but you just want to keep your family safe, there's also time to organize for that. Like, okay, let's say if there is some bullshit that pops off, how do I keep my family safe? Maybe you might want to start organizing for that too. Maybe you might want to get out the way while this liberation transpires. So there is other alternatives to just necessarily picking a side and going for it. I mean, there's other things that you can do, like get the hell out the way. And that also takes organization. So, organizing is a universal thing in this context. And I would highly suggest that all human beings, if you are planning on some sort of mass liberation, my suggestion to you then is to definitely organize. You should be getting together with friends and family and people on the internet and discussing ideas and getting things on the ball. So I call this second set Malcolm X because Malcolm X was very heavily on the organization of Black people. So I titled it Step 2 Malcolm X. So that's pretty much what step 2 is organization. We Black people should start forming coalitions, militias, really groups, anything that you think that would help in the mass liberation of Indians in this country. Black Americans are the Indians, so Native Americans, Indians, all that shit. Like, God put us here. We've been here since the beginning of time. This is our land, okay? So anything that you think that will be able to help the originals, this would be the time for you to go ahead and organize the original help. So it's about time for the originals to get their mass liberation. So the third step is actually a very simple step, and I titled it Black Panther. So the last and final step into the liberation of our people would be Black Panther. This is where all that organization gets put to work. It could happen in many ways. There's many ways to take down oppression. One of the main ways is the economy. This country is based on the economy. You don't have to necessarily fire a single bullet to take down a heathen. You know what I mean? Like, if all the Black people, for example, started switching their wealth, because Black people spend a lot of money. So if Black people started switching their wealth and they started doing what rich white people do, which is create a circulatory economy, then Black people can start to liberate themselves financially. And, by creating a circulatory economy, meaning if you want to call it buy black, but, that's pretty much what it is. It's creating a closed circuit economy that it could actually be enforced by creating our own, like, cryptocurrency. What's stopping Black people from creating our own cryptocurrency and using that cryptocurrency to buy literally everything that we need, paying rent with that cryptocurrency, buying food with that cryptocurrency. We would no longer be on the dollar, where we can use our cryptocurrency. We could even make cars for ourselves. There's no limit to what our ingenious minds can think of. And there's ways to bring down a giant again without firing a single shot. So the organization aspect of it could yield many fruit. So it doesn't always have to be a violent ending to this story. However, and if it does get to the point of quote unquote violence, then this would also be where Black Panther materializes. Sometimes in order to beat off your oppressor, you have to beat up your oppressor. And that's very important. Look at the Mexicans, look at the Cubans, look at the Puerto Ricans. If you look at all these different groups of people, the Haitians, they all pretty much took care of their white people. And what I mean by took care of their white people is they got them off their land. Now, they may have not gotten full liberation of their countries due to the banking systems. However, they did get physical liberation for their country for a while. And this is very important to understand, is that sometimes you literally have to fight for your right to party. And if you're not willing to fight for your right to party, then you probably don't want to party as bad as you think you do. Maybe you like the slavery a little bit. And, that's your own self-destruction. That's your own self-masochism. But me, I'm not into masochistic behavior. So I'm not really into this self-slavery. I'm not down with it, man. I just don't want to do this. So, I'm on the side of liberation. And, if they kill me, they lock me up, it doesn't matter, because this is it. This outside world here, like, this is all there is. Like, this is it. Like, yo, I'll take life in a cage over this shit. You know what I mean? Like, if I gotta spend the rest of my life willingly participating in this bullshit, yeah, about that. Yeah, I'll take cage life, because at least being locked up in the cage for the rest of my life, I ain't gotta work. If I'm gonna be locked up in the cage for the rest of my life, I'll be damned if I'm gonna work. You ain't gonna see me on no chain gang. You shoot me right in the fucking face. Take me back to the spirit world. I'll be smiling, because I won't have to put up with your ass. That's the truth. You should not be afraid to die. Because death is the real world. This is the fake world here. This is illusion. So when you know that for yourself, and honestly know that, then you're not afraid to die. You're living high tide, so that's a whole other thing to the truth, is living high tide. So yeah, if I had to choose between putting up with this bullshit for the rest of my life, I gotta live till 90 and put up with this steak ass, rake ass bullshit, this rake ass economy, this rake ass government till I'm 90. Fuck that shit. That's crazy talk, so yeah, you can do anything you want to on C-Store Ortega, because putting up with this shit just ain't gonna cut it for me. I love myself too much to put up with this shit. So, when you really love yourself, you kind of put your foot down with abuse. And that's the mark of someone who really loves themselves, is that they do not tolerate abuse. For people who do not love themselves, they tolerate abuse. They abuse themselves, and they allow others to abuse them. But people who love themselves, they don't tolerate themselves abusing themselves, and they don't tolerate other people abusing them. That's a sign of maturity. That's a sign of respect. That's a sign of love. So for me, and my consciousness, my current consciousness now, I don't believe in this type of abuse. This is abuse. This is slavery. Like, even if you're rich, like, you're still a slave to money. Like, that's something that each human being has to discover for himself. But literally, if you need a substance to survive, and you have to like participate in it, and it's a choice, like, there's homeless people who choose not to participate, in the money thing, and guess what? Like the homeless people are happier, like they have a bigger smile on their face than the people who fucking have a nice home and have a Mercedes Benz and shit. How come that homeless person is happier? How come that homeless person has a cleaner energy than the person with the fucking Mercedes Benz? I feel your fucking energy. Like that homeless person fucking puts good joy into my heart. But this person with the bins, I can't stand because his energy is just horrible. So, there is just certain aspects to it. So going back to the plan, um, you have to be willing to fight for your right. If you really want freedom, if you really want happiness, if you really want to end your oppression, because a lot of you black people, I don't think that you're quite ready for what real truth and real freedom really is. And that's only because you've never been taught that. You've been abused your whole life, and all you know is abuse. Um, when black parents beat their kids, that's abuse. And I know that you're not taught to view your life as important enough not to be hit by your parents. And like I get that you're trained to like view yourself as, oh yeah, that makes me tough, but how tough really are you? Like toughness is kindness. Like the less angry that you can get, that's a sign of toughness, because you're more powerful than your situation. You know what I mean? If you're able to look at your situation and laugh, even in the worst come to worst situations, then that's power. And people say, well, why don't you laugh and just keep this shit going? But that's not right either. It's not love. I love myself too enough to end abuse. So you have to like love yourself enough to not abuse yourself and not abuse others. And that why if you're a parent and you beat your kids, like why do you treat your kids like a dog? Do you look at your kids and think that they're a dog? Why are you treating them that way? Why are you treating them that they're less than their worth? And why are you treating yourself less than your worth than by hurting them? Don't you understand that the way you treat other people is a reflection of the way you will treat yourself and the way that you treat yourself? So if you're hurting other people, that's because you're hurting yourself. So if you want to stop hurting other people, then stop hurting yourself. It goes both ways. However, there is something called self-defense, and self-defense is really the only thing that I'm advocating. I'm not advocating any form of aggression, but I am advocating self-defense. We, as a people, we have been abused. We have been abused mentally, we have been abused physically, and we have been abused emotionally. And it's time that we put our foots down. Why do cops feel the need to yell at us and treat us like shit? Like, why can't they talk to us like a normal human being? Isn't that a form of abuse too? Isn't that a mental, physical, emotional abuse? Because I feel your energy. I feel pain being around you. And when I leave your presence, I no longer feel that same pain. So that tells me that this pain is not necessarily caused by myself. It is caused by your evil presence. So your evil presence is actually abusing me. So where is the cruel and unusual punishment in that? Why do I have to put up with your evil energy? Like, that's horrible within itself. So, again, I outlined a 3-step plan: Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Black Panther. I believe that we probably are in the Malcolm X phase. I think we already tried a lot of Martin Luther King. I'm not saying we tried all of Martin Luther King. So if you're a black person and a little paperwork, or a little something something, try it. There's peaceful ways to end arguments. There's peaceful ways to end things. So you kind of gotta look at it like that. But I definitely believe in fairness, and I look at other countries. How come in other countries, the citizens are allowed to hit the cops, and the citizens are allowed to have fist fights with the cops and not go to jail? In other countries, cops are equals. Cops are not treated on a pedestal, and they're not giving extra rights that the people don't have. In these other countries, you can get in a fist fight with a cop and it's perfectly legal because they don't view cops as something special. They just view cops as a regular job. You know, everything is based more so on a human level in other places than here in America. America's not the most humanist place in the world. And a lot of people say, oh, we're so free, but we're not. If you consider this freedom, then God help you. If this is what freedom is now, because I'm better off dead. This ain't freedom. This ain't fucking freedom. If you think it's freedom, you're retarded. Like, literally. So, you know, those are my 2 cents. I made this YouTube video basically to outline a plan that people can follow. Choose to follow it if you like to, if you will. The only thing I can guarantee is that this particular plan, this particular philosophy is also in line with the universe. And this is why I am saying it. Because it is what we are. And it is how a natural, free-thinking human being handles his problems. Peaceably. Just take a step back. Attack. That's the way it works. Okay? So, a lot of us are in a step back and a lot of us are in an attack already. We're ready. We're just waiting for our time. Some people are still in Martin Luther King, and let them be in Martin Luther King. Let them try, because there's peaceful ways to handle arguments and disputes. But if those ways should fail, then, you know, we're not going to put up with this shit. You know, at least I know I'm not. You can shoot me, you can kill me. but to live and put up with your shit, though. Yo, you go and kill Cecil, but to live and put up with your shit, oh no, that's not something I'm prepared to do. I'm not prepared to suffer for another 30, 40, 50 years. So no. Yeah, I love myself way too much to suffer for that long. Yeah, oh yeah. Oh no, Cecil will take his own life before that. You know, I just keeps it real. So to suffer like that for that long, fuck that. You know, that's crazy talk. So I love myself too much to do something like that. So that's just me. You know, I'm just very much on the side of non-self-abuse. You know, maybe some of you don't love yourself as much as I do, but I love me some me, and I love myself more importantly. So I encourage you all to love yourself and to be there for yourself and to cherish yourself. And probably the next video I'm going to do is on loving yourself, because it's really hard to fight a war if you don't love yourself. So that's Cecil Ortega, and the best fighters are lovers. And yeah, I know there's going to be some people, regardless of what I say, something's going to pop off. I just have a feeling that certain white people are organizing, and it's just going to pop off. And there's going to be, I'm going to tell you right now, there's going to be people who work jobs who ain't never picked up a gun a day in their life, who are going to pick up a gun and do something about what's coming. So I always say this, and it's like a line in the sand. Okay, there's a line in the sand that human beings naturally have, and the government is planning on crossing that line in the sand. Now, it's natural human nature to rebel against anybody who crosses this line. Now, we have a line that all humans in their natural mind, all humans kind of have an instinctual presence that tells them if someone crosses this line right here, then it's time to fight back. And all humans, regardless of how brainwashed they are, regardless of whatever, they have this particular mechanism. Okay, this is something I find to be very important, that all humans have this particular mechanism, and that if the government, like they said, they're planning on crossing that line, And if they do, they're going to be people, even in the government. There's going to be government people who will rebel against the government. There's going to be generals who rebel against the government. There's going to be plane pilots who rebel against the government. There are going to be helicopter pilots who rebel against the government, drone pilots who rebel against the government. There are going to be soldiers who rebel against the government. There's going to be people who natural instincts will tell them to rebel against the government because the government has become too evil, and it's obviously evil. Now, God has put the creator, whatever you want to call it, I'm just going to classify as God to make it easy for everyone to understand. God pretty much put provisions on this earth. Okay, there's provisions in every human mind, even if you're Illuminati, even if you're this, even if you're that. It doesn't matter what the fuck you believe. You're made with a certain code. And there are provisions in these codes. There's either going to be members of the Illuminati, there's going to be members of this person, there's going to be members of this person. There will be people switching sides. And that's what people don't understand. Only the most evil of people are going to join that side. The Karens of the world. Okay, the Karens are going to join that side. And the non-Karens, which are most of the people, are going to be on the other side. And then there are like semi-Karens. And those are going to be the people in the middle, because there are a lot of semi-Karens too. There are a lot of people who are Karens sometimes, or part-time Karens. And those part-time Karens are going to be the ones in the middle. And some of them are going to be over here. Some of them might even be over here. But the part-time Karens, they make up a good majority of people too. So, it's going to be pretty much be... The war is pretty much going to be set as the Karens versus the non-Karens of the world. And the Karens of the world are going to be on this side, because you have to be really evil you have to be some sort of malignant narcissist to even try to control human beings to the extent in which they're planning on doing. Okay. And most people are not malignant narcissists. There are a lot of malignant narcissists, but most people are not malignant narcissists. So there's going to be more people on this side who are going to be against malignant narcissism, and who's going to get quite angry at the very sight of malignant narcissism. Malignant narcissists make me angry. I cannot be around a malignant narcissist and not be angry, because it's natural human nature to be angry for certain personality types, at least to be angry around malignant narcissists. I cannot be around a malignant narcissist and my blood not be boiling. Okay? Sometimes I feel like biting these people, because I am an animal first. And I have a natural urge sometimes to bite the evil. And that's because I'm an animal first. Like, I'm honest about that. So I've tapped into my primal instincts. And sometimes I feel like biting someone's face. And the manner in which I bite faces is very violent. Like, I'm probably have the capacity to really get in there. And, of course, I save my animal instincts for a worst come to worst situation. But I do sometimes feel them coming on when I'm around certain personality types, because I can't take it. I do practice a certain level of self-control, obviously. However, if it was natural world, or if there was no laws and no government, well, a lot of these evil ass people would be getting their face bit. So, there's that. That's just the way it is. Argue with God. That's just my video, and I'm putting it out there. And there's a natural instinct, I guess, maybe for the leader to disdain evil. And I would definitely say that throughout my life, I've always kind of disdained evil. I just can't really put up with evil. I'm just very anti-evil. And it's not that necessarily I'm pro-good, it's just that I'm anti-evil. I just have a disdain against it. Like, I recognize it as a destructive behavior that benefits no one. Evil doesn't even benefit the people being evil. That's the most important thing to understand about evil, is that it does not benefit even the evil. Even the evil do not benefit from being evil. No one benefits from evil. It's a lose-lose situation. In one of my past videos, I outlined win-win. Being evil is a lose-lose. So human beings only operate in win-win and lose-lose. Evil is in the lose-lose. You lose and I lose for being around you. So it's a lose-lose situation. No one benefits from evil, even if the government is successful in their evil. Even if the corporations are successful and are evil, they will not win because they too will lose. Misery needs company. But they will lose too because they will hinder their own happiness while hindering your happiness. So I'm going to end on that note. And I love you guys. And I really hope that you guys watch this and take heed. And if you got to watch it a couple times, watch it a couple times. But just understand the main points. It's about self-defense, really. This is what every self-defense program really teaches. You give people a chance to handle the situation peaceably, and if they, should not handle the situation peaceably, then we got to do something to defend ourselves. So that's the way I think, and who knows. So this is Cecil once again with another wonderful video, and I hope you enjoy yourself.